Right, I think that's enough time, so let's get started. So good morning and welcome to another edition of Procurement Pulse. Now, just before we start, a quick bit of housekeeping, as always. All cameras and microphones are disabled and we will be recording this webinar and your names may be visible. We will obviously edit this webinar afterwards and we can share this with you if you wish to do so. So I'm one of the co-presenters for Procurement Pulse and part of the direct channel team here at KTS Procurement Services. And you may have noticed we have a new member of the team with us this morning. So let's go to the man, the myth, the legend himself, MJ, for what's on today.
Thank you very much, Rich. Yes, I'm MJ. I'm part of the direct channel team, as well as Rich. Thank you for everyone for joining today. You can see the numbers are looking good. It's always a good sign. So yeah, we're really excited about today's show. We've got a packed agenda. Just to give a sort of outline to those who maybe haven't joined us previously. Typically it takes 20 minutes, 25 minutes. We don't try and drag it on. We try and get you the information as best we can. So the agenda. Today I'll be doing a bit of a spotlight on the temporary and semi-permanent buildings framework. A bit of a mouthful. We've got our special guest today, Rebecca Weaving, who'll be joining us and giving us an insight from the perspective of sort of MFDs and how we can support organisations that are affected by RAAC. As per usual, we'll have our Q&A session. So thank you to those who have already submitted some questions. And if we get time to answer some of the ones that are sort of on the teams today, we will do so. And also we'll be giving you a taste as to what's coming up next month. So over to you, Rich.
Yeah, just a quick intro. So the reason we've got this webinar today is because obviously this September in the UK, we witnessed an abnormal back to school scenario. Over 150 schools across the nation had to shut down fully or partly due to concerns about the safety of a specific type of concrete used in their construction. So as Angela said, this is known as RAAC. So it's a reinforced concrete. It's a lightweight building material that was commonly used in the UK from the 1950s to about 1990s for construction. Some students now face the prospect of remote learning reminiscent of the pandemic era, while schools administrators and head teachers are scrambling to secure temporary facilities. In response, we wish to highlight our temporary and semi-permanent buildings framework, offering schools a flexible solution to swiftly address space requirements and maintain uninterrupted education. So over to MJ to spotlight temporary buildings.
Thank you very much, Rich. So for those who haven't seen this before, this is our 2023 catalogue. Let's have a look. Let's go. It's got 140 pages, 12 different categories, lots of information about different frameworks and how we can support as an organisation. We'll share the link on the chat maybe a little bit later to those who would like to have a look at that. So today we're focusing on temporary and semi-permanent buildings, and we're going to give you a bit of a glimpse as to how that could possibly support your organisation. I know we've got a bit of a focus as to education today, but this is also a solution for the wider public sector. So that includes the NHS, which we've had a few queries about recently. So as you can see, the format of the catalogue, you've got the different lots, you've got the routes to market, that's direct toward further competition, and you've got the different suppliers. So the two lots, they're split, and as you can see, they're very similar. The main differential being that the first one is in relation to leasing and lot two is in relation to purchase. There's a few differences on the purchase lot, but I'll go through that in a bit more detail in a second. So what does it cover? So we're talking about modular buildings, cabins, containers, tents and marquees, the sort of usual bits and pieces that you'll definitely need if you're looking to have a temporary solution in place. It's a safe space for your organisation, and we can help arrange that through our frameworks. What else does it cover? So if you're not too sure where to start from, well, we've got a full project management aspect included within the framework as well. So we're talking about project management, design services. So a common thing that we seem to get asked is about planning permission. That's something that some of the organizations can support with. And it's part of your due diligence to have those conversations with these guys, the suppliers, to make sure you've got all the information that you need to make an informed decision that will give value for your organization. The other bits and pieces such as construction, installation, maintenance, which can sort of boggle your mind to think about, they're covered within the framework as well. So it's a one-stop solution in my eyes to get a safe space for your school, your organization. In relation to Lot 2, there's a few sort of value-added services included. So we're talking about on-site audits, data erasure, asset recycling, and secure destruction as well. So all of that will be included within this particular framework. So we've just got a snapshot view there. There's much more that we can support with. If you've got a query, get in touch and we're more than happy to support you with that. So hopefully that gives you an insight as to what this framework can help support you with, and especially in relation to RAAC. So get in touch and we'll get the ball rolling for you. Back to you, Rich.
Back to me. Thank you very much, MJ. Right now, so we are delighted to introduce our special guest speaker for this edition of Procurement Pulse, the fantastic Becky from our MFD team. So welcome, Becky, and over to you.
Perfect. Thank you both for having me. So as Rich said, my name's Becky. I manage a team of account specialists who support our MFD framework, so the multifunctional devices and digital solutions framework. It is a DFE approved framework, which is a really positive association to have against the framework. So what I'm going to do is just start off with some pre-requested questions around how, if you've got an MFD with us or photocopying with us, or even if you're looking at photocopier solutions, but you are affected by current circumstances, how we can support that in getting you up and running as well. So if we start with the questions, I'll then move over to a little bit of an introduction about the framework, a bit of insight into the framework itself, and then I'll see if there are any additional questions at the end. I would be happy to answer them. So Rich, MJ.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Becky. Yes, obviously we've had some pre-questions come in already. So Becky, so if I've got an MFD with you and it's in a building now affected by this RAAC, what do we need to do?
Yep. So with any scenario, the first point of contact is just to get in touch with us. But we will work with your existing supplier and yourselves to help support getting in a solution or moving your solution. Every customer is going to have a different scenario. There's going to be different restrictions, but we'll work with you and work with the supplier so that we can get you back up and running so that your print isn't affected. But bottom line is get in touch and then we'll work through your individual scenario with you and get something in place.
Perfect, thank you.
Another one from the perspective of a sort of school, if we have photocopiers that are in a building that's affected, should we try moving it ourselves, or is that something that you can handle for us?
So any building, any resite, whether it's in a building that's affected or not, really should be done by the suppliers. If the equipment's leased, you're covered. If a supplier drops the machine, you're covered. If you were to break the machine, then obviously it would come at a cost. But also on the other side of that, a lot of these machines are really heavy. They are office equipment, even the desktops, they're considerably heavy. So it's best off to get in contact with us and then we'll arrange with the supplier to get them moved for you. Obviously, if you can't have access to the building, it probably means that suppliers can't have access to the building either. But it's definitely something we can work around and we'll help you get those machines moved where possible.
Thank you. So another one here we've got. So are we able to take out short-term contracts on photocopiers? Obviously, some of them are in contracts for years, but you know, what's happening now? Is this something that's possible at the moment with your suppliers, you know, short-term contracts?
Yeah. So we, as standard, we'll do a 3, 4, or 5 year contract, but there is that flexibility around looking at a shorter term contract if that is a requirement. So it's definitely something that we can help you with. Which all we need to know is the information. As soon as we've got the information, we can get quotes and things for you.
Perfect. Thank you.
And finally, what if we don't currently use you for our photocopiers and it's an MFD related, but we'd like a bit more information? Can you still support us?
Yeah, of course I can. So that smoothly leads me on to the breakdown of the framework. So we can definitely support. What I'll do is I'll go into a bit of information of how we can support the different lots, and then if anyone needs further clarification, then obviously I can do that at the end. So there are 2 lots on the framework. Lot 1 is around your photocopier devices and associated solutions. So that could be anything from an A4 printer or an A4 multifunctional device, all the way up to your wide format printers. It includes the reprographics equipment. It can include just standard office floor standing devices, and a whole selection of different finishing options, from booklet finishers to ring binding. Basically anything to do with a form of print and finishing we can do for you. They're all run off of a lease or rental. So you can, lease or purchase. So you can rent them or you can purchase them, but they all come with a cost per copy like service element to support you with all of your parts and toners, servicing, staples if you've got a staple finisher. So on lot 1, there are 6 brands based off of 5 suppliers. So the brands that you can get through lot 1 are Toshiba, Canon, HP, Ricoh, Sharp and Kyocera. If you jump onto the next slide, and then I'll dive into lot 2. So lot 2 is about the bigger picture. So if you're working on a bigger IT, AV type project, so photocopiers and digital signage, interactive screens, telephony, anything that's that wider IT, AV project, we can also help you with that. And again, that can go through lease or purchase. So we've got the same suppliers on that lot with the addition of DMS. So there's plenty of suppliers that can help you support through that process of managing those bigger projects as like one project, instead of having to go to different suppliers, different frameworks. We can do it all under one. Next slide, please. So as with any of our frameworks, there are some benefits. The benefits of this framework are that you have access to multiple brands and suppliers, so you don't have to just stick with one brand. If you like, I don't know, one supplier for desktops, but you actually prefer reprographics from another supplier, that's fine. We can cross those we can blend those suppliers into the same sort of agreement. The configurations are bespoke, so they deliver you the right solution. The terms and conditions are created to protect you. All orders and invoices are managed in-house, which means that we will check all of the invoices before they come to you. So if there is a discrepancy that comes over from the supplier at that point, we'll already be working on it before it's even reached you. If for whatever reason an invoice does reach you and it doesn't quite match the information that you have, then we would go back to the supplier and we'd get that sorted for you on your behalf to save you doing the chasing back and forth. The benchmarking has already been done for pricing. The equipment is insured against loss and damage. You will get a dedicated account specialist. So as I mentioned, I look after the team of our account specialists. We've got a team of 7 and we do cover nationwide. So we cover everywhere. We have a buying power for the framework, which means that it's going to be both cost effective and time effective. So it'll save you money through time and like having to go around and do the quotes yourselves. There is no financial penalty. So if you were to close, so enforced closure, you are covered, which is quite unique to this framework. It means that you wouldn't have to pay the remainder of your contract. Next slide, please. So just some added value from our account specialist side. This part of how we work as a framework is slightly different to other frameworks. We essentially have a team that does a lot of the work for you. So we can get multiple quotes to save you going to each individual supplier. We can go out to all of the suppliers and then just send you a multi-quote. We also do cost analysis. So if you are new to us, even if you're currently with us, we can help look at costs based off of usage, rental, any fees and things that you might have in an existing contract outside of the framework. We can support that and we can look at it and help you with your cost analysis. Again, we've got benchmarking of supplier pricing. We provide expert advice on procurement, contracts, suppliers. We use that to help you resolve any issues, queries and things that you might have. We do quarterly check-ins just to make sure everything's okay. You will have a direct account specialist, so you'll have contact for them, both mobile number, direct email address, direct landline, so you don't have to go through the generic contact information, you know, through hunt lines and things. You'll have someone that's there for you at the end of the phone. There's also clear points of escalation should you need it. And I think the main one that's always the most important for a lot of establishments is just the ease of use. So we do a lot of the work for you so that you can focus on other things. You don't need to worry about branching out to multiple people to get quotes, or that you've got to keep phoning a supplier to resolve an issue. Like, we do a lot of that work for you. Perfect. So that's the end of my slides. But obviously, if you did want any more information, or you wanted us to help support you with an existing contract or a new contract, please feel free to get in touch with the team, and someone will come back to you to support and pick up your query. Before I jump back to Rich and MJ, are there any other questions?
Not had any new ones come through, Becky, but I'm sure after this there will be some more questions. So thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate that. And I'm sure hopefully everyone found that useful. Again, Becky's details on the screen there. You can obviously go via myself and MJ as well, or our direct channel team if you need any assistance. We can obviously pass on your details on her behalf. So thank you again, Becky. Now we've got a few Q&As for MJ. So some questions have come through for you, MJ. Obviously, you spotlighted the framework, so unfortunately you're going to have to answer these. Okay, so one for the views of this framework. Can suppliers of this framework support with getting planning permission? That's quite a common thing we keep getting asked.
Yes, they definitely can. So that sort of planning and design services, as well as project management aspect, they can get involved within that. So the main thing is to have those conversations with the suppliers and understand how they differentiate from one another. But yes, the answer is yes, we can arrange for that sort of support to be able to get that done on your behalf.
Perfect. Another one we've had again is, so what's sort of the next steps if they're interested in temporary or semi-permanent buildings? So what's the next step for them? And also, are suppliers geared up to support, you know, schools and people and the public sector with this? Because obviously there must be a higher demand now for this product due to in light of the RAAC thing.
Yeah, they're definitely geared up for it. As you know, Rich, we've been contacted numerously with regards to providing solutions because people aren't able to access buildings, for example, or access IT hardware especially. So they're definitely geared up for it, and they're there to support. They're aware of the situation. The next steps would be to get in touch, get a customer access agreement signed. That's a non-binding document which allows you to contact these the suppliers that we have, and we've done the due diligence for, so you can have those conversations. So get in touch and we'll sort of help you connect the dots. So yeah, we can definitely support with that aspect.
Perfect, thank you. I think that's probably all we've got time for questions, because obviously we're conscious of time. We're going to move on now to what's happening next month. So, okay, next one, it will be live Thursday, the 26th of October, 11 o'clock. We're going to try and spotlight our managed services framework. Now, this is a really one of our big frameworks. It covers so many areas, so it's quite an in-depth one to talk about. It covers areas like AI, service hosting, you know, cloud storage, ICT systems, and lots more. So look out for the links coming in LinkedIn. Join us for the next one. We're going to spotlight the managed services framework. Obviously, part of what we do here at Procurement Pulse is to try and react to events and hot topics, and obviously hence why we did the one today regarding the RAAC issue for schools. We found it, you know, we thought it was a really important message to try and get across to say that we can help support you if you'd like us to, and hopefully that's something you can come and speak to us about if you so wish to do so. So that's about it, I think, for this edition of Procurement Pulse. We've got a new little design there. That's me by myself this time. I don't know if it's better MJ or myself. I'm not sure yet. But firstly, I'd just like to thank you all for joining us. Hopefully you've learned something. Hopefully you found it interesting and engaging. And I'd like to especially thank Becky for her time and going through the MFDs and explaining it in such a great way that we all understand. And again, thank you again for your time. And last words over to MJ.
Thank you, Rich. Yeah, I just want to echo that. Thank you, Becky. I really appreciate your time. That was really informative. I think you qualify for a Procurement Pulse background now, so that's good news for you. Thanks to everyone. Thanks to everyone joining today. Really appreciate you sticking around and listening in. big thank you to everyone that sort of came and said hello to us at the emergency services show. That was really useful, and hopefully we can support all of the emergency services related organisations. But all that's left to be said is keep your finger on the pulse.
The procurement pulse. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.